Welcome to our channel for the first time, new deadheads. So I've been using this for the last 3 or 4 days. This is the Ayaneo Next Lite, and this machine is pretty good. You saw me do the unboxing. We did the Just Enough Linux OS install guide, and now we're doing the review on this. I do want to make a note here that I have not been able to use Holo ISO because the link that Ayaneo has is restricted for some reason. So I will do a follow-up video showing that. But since it's shipped with Windows, I want to review it as it's shipped. So as far as a Windows gaming PC goes, I'm not a PC gamer by any means. So take that with what it will. But I wanted to share with you what me, Dead Fred, enjoyed this as a retro gaming focused device. So first of all, in any of your ARM devices, you're not going to have Wii U support. You're also not going to have PS3 support. I was able to get both PS3 and Wii U running, and we'll show you some footage of some PS3 in our review here. The things that I like about this unit, I like the color. I like the sticks. Now, we have had reports of some people having issues with sticks, but my sticks both work and click, so I got really lucky. I think that this has the 3 USB-C ports is a very strong aspect of that. In fact, I was able to use dual boot using that micro SD control adapter through USB-C. So the 2 on the top and the 1 on the bottom is a really good thing. This plays some pretty good PC gaming as well. Windows runs fine. It runs great in the Ayaneo dock, and you can dock it and play it on your TV, Bluetooth support, all that kind of stuff. Things I did not like about it. The Ayaneo software is still not that great. The button here is awesome, and having the ability to change settings on the fly is great. This is getting better, but it's not going to be Steam Deck level of support. You're going to have a superior OS experience in SteamOS. But again, you can have Windows, you can dual boot into Just Enough Linux and have the best of both worlds in my mind. So this also, I wish it had a micro SD card slot. That's a big shame on it. Also, only 2 of the ports support power delivery. The top one on the left is data only. So there's that. It doesn't have the additional buttons that the newer Geek and Neo 2 devices have on the top to help you have expanded capability. And it's a little bit loud and heavy. So, you know, with all that being said, it's probably not the perfect device by any means, but I think if you've been looking for something under $400 that is Windows, this is going to be the guy for you. Yes, you could pick up, you know, the AYN Loki. They do have the Max or the even the Zero. Or you could get the Ambernic Win 600, but both of those chipsets are much older, and this has better iGPU support. So anyways, first of all, I want to thank you guys again for helping us grow. Let's see if we can hit that magical 500 number in the next month or so, and let's get to some game footage, and we'll be right back, Deadheads. And so here is Jack 3 running on PlayStation 2. I've got this running at 720p since this is an 800p screen, and it just looks gorgeous. Now again, this is a game that we had trouble getting running on the KT Pocket and also the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro. So Android is still struggling a bit. Now the Odin 2 played this game just fine, but it does not look nearly as good as it does on a Windows machine. So as we've been saying, Windows is just still superior for retro gaming at this point, or x86 is what I should say, instead of Windows, is still superior. So let's just go through some game footage here. It's such a beautiful game. You can see here we're getting about 46 frames per second, 50 frames per second. But I do have this running at 720p upscaled. There we go, we're getting closer to 60 now. So again, this is the little bit of settings adjustment, you can get this to play pretty fluid. This is one of the more demanding PS2 games, but very playable, getting 60 frames through seconds. Oh, as I die. I always tend to do this. Much more playable than before. Let's take a look at another PS2 game. So how about some Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution on the PS2? And this is another game, you know, I love the fighting games, and this one looks really good. Getting a nice fluid 60 frames per second consistent. Running this one at 896p. But again, just really clear as the old man gets his ass beat. This is such a fun game. I wish there would be there's a new Tekken, so why isn't there a new Virtua Fighter? Hey Sega, do something about this. So yeah, I mean, we know that Windows and x86 chips are going to play PS2 pretty fine. So how about PS3? Let's switch to that. So back with some PS3. And this is something that you're not going to see on any of the handhelds that we use that are not x86. So any ARM-based ones, you're not really going to see PS3 on here. And so this is another reason that you might consider, you know, picking up a handheld that has an x86-based chipset. We're going to let this fast forward and bzzz, zoom. We're back. And you can see this is running at 30 frames per second. I do have this, I don't have FSR on. We're getting 15 watts. This thing can push up to a 32 watt maximum. But I do have this just on normal game. Right here, we're at 56 degrees. So it is, you know, 30 frames per second, which is not terrible. But again, you're not even going to get PS3 to boot on any other device at this time. And it's still compiling the shaders here. So again, just the fact that you can even play PS3 is a bonus. And of course, I'm playing this for filming purposes using an Xbox controller, Series X controller, and I have it docked. But of course, you know, it's going to play on your handheld, and with the amount of power it's using and drawing, you're not going to get a lot of game time on it. So being docked is probably a better way to play this. I haven't played this game in a long time, so let's stop for a second. Let's see if we can push up that TDP. Let's go and give it a maximum TDP boost. Turn it on an AA game, and we got unlimited on FPS. Our limit 32 watts, and let's see if this will boost it up a little bit. You know, and some of this may be just in the software settings that I have. You know, back when this, before 3D really came out, or when 3D first came out, 30 frames per second was considered the standard, and now we're so used to 144 frames per second and all the other stuff that comes with it. So a little tutorial. Boy, this is a pretty cool game. So now I want to get into some PC gaming. So we're going to try out a little bit of PC gaming here and just show you guys what it can do. And we'll be back. I will start with some Cuphead on Windows. This is a pretty difficult game, but it has such a cool style to it. And you know, this chipset, even though it's older, it's going to play a lot of different PC games. I'm not going to have a lot of trouble playing on a lot of different, you know, games. This is not, of course, a 7840U. My Legion Go is something that would, you know, play more modern games that I would use for that. But you know, a lot of these ladder-based games, and we'll get into something a little more heavy here in a minute. But just a gorgeous game, and again, you know, for you know, those retro handhelds that I've been reviewing, like the Retro Pocket 4 Pro, which is so fantastic, or my Snow Cake, which I love. You know, those are Android ARM-based devices. You're not going to get to play stuff like this on them. So at, you know, $299, now $299 is with only the 128 gigs, but you can replace the SSD. And of course, you can also get the model I have, which is going to be now at $349 with the 512 gigs. But here, let's take a look at something a little bit more high-powered. Let's try some more PC. So even though the Turtles always got all the respect, Battletoads was pretty cool. So here's some PC Battletoads playing for it, and you can see that. Let me drop down the. It's hard to see the. There we go. 60 frames per second. We're running 18 watts or so. It's a GPU heavy game, so it's pretty good. 8 gigs of RAM, but this looks nice and smooth. 60 frames per second. And this is a really cool game, really good looking game. But let's try something just a little bit heavier, something a little bit more demanding. Let's see if we can get it to run. And let's just change games here. And so a little God of War here. And this game is pretty new, demanding. Sony put this out, and as you can see that it's not getting very good frame rates. Now, I could put FSR on here and run at a lower resolution to upscale it. So let's see what happens if we do that. I am definitely not the best when it comes to PC here, but let's turn on the FSR, and let's see if it gets any better. If I can get the game to not actually crash. So it looks like that didn't help very much. It actually did not do very well on that. So there we go. And it's just sitting here. Although, I mean, it feels playable enough. I mean, it's not unenjoyable. Although I'm sure with a little bit of tweaking, and again, I am definitely not a PC gamer. There's a lot that I don't know about tweaking these systems or getting them to play. But I mean, I feel like this is smooth enough that where I could play it and not have any issues with it. So as a retro game focused channel, this of course is not my forte. So. But I did want to show a little bit of, you know, the performance here on this chipset. I do have a Legion Go with the 7840, and that's, of course, until the 8840 comes out, the top chipset for these handhelds right now, the Z1 Extreme. And so this is pretty impressive at $299, or, you know, for more storage, $349. And then there's going to be the higher model, the 4700. Which is going to come out for $50 more at $400. But I don't know that's going to be worth bumping up that chip spec. So anyways, Deadheads, we'll be back with some final thoughts. Okay, Deadheads, so what do we think as we take this out with some Switch here, showing you some Super Mario Wonder. This is a great unit. I think that Ayaneo has really brought something to the table. For a while, we've had the GPD Win. GPD Win, and we've had the AYN Loki Zero, and also we have had Anbernics Win 600. But I think this device at that $350 price point is just hitting a very sweet spot. Now, you can get a Steam Deck for about the same price with the LCD. I think that overall Windows is going to give you some accessibility because you can again install Linux, just enough Linux on this, and use that on a micro SD card with an adapter. You can, you know, have a dual boot solution, so you have the best of both worlds. Windows on the Steam Deck is not quite great. I love the size of this. It is distributed well with the weight. The colorway is beautiful, such a beautiful baby blue. The metal sticks are great and clicky. We've seen plenty of reports of different people who have had issues with the clickiness of their sticks. And definitely I got lucky and my sticks both click really well and don't have any issues at all. I would say I think that this is definitely not a perfect device by any means. It certainly has some issues and definitely could, you know, be something that might frustrate you in several ways. But if you know what you're getting and you're going for budget gaming and you're really focusing on retro gaming through PS3, yes, PS3 and Wii U, then this is a fabulous device at that $350 price point. Okay guys, please remember to leave us a like and comments. We love the comments, we love the community that's growing, we love the discussion that's happening. Look forward to doing more reviews like this. Now, I am going to have a separate video on the Holo ISO as soon as I get that set up. For some reason, the one Ayaneo uploaded was locked, and so we haven't been able to get that running and going. But once we do get that set up and going, we're going to do a separate video on that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we're going to see you next time. And one last thing, tomorrow is the Super Bowl. Go Chiefs! Dead Fred out.